Welcome to Life You Got This. Life You Got This, Misty Covington, guests, and any social media platforms used, including any references, links, or other knowledge resources, are for informational purposes only. Please seek professional assistance should you require it. If you believe you are in an emergency, call 911 immediately. This is Misty Covington with Life You Got This, and we are on our next episode of the year. I'm super excited about this because it's going to be kind of therapy from a everyday life person point of view, not always the therapist, which I love because we experience narcissism differently. But I first of all want to introduce you, Miss Saige Whitney. Thank you for coming.
Hi, Misty. Thanks for having me.
You bet you. Thank you. We met formally last fall, and we waited till the holidays came and left. And then you were telling me of your new podcast coming out, which is called a Lights Out Narcissistic Podcast, which is great. I mean, just the title of that, I'm going, what the what? I mean, we know what it's going to be about, but you explained it to me, like how the title and everything like that. But I do want everyone to know that this is a podcast, and that they can find it on Spotify. For now, it's on Spotify. Eventually, it will branch out to all the other platforms, which is super cool. I've already listened to it. I also had to watch the film, but the trailer of Lights Out, because you'll explain that in a second, and people are going to, what? The trailer of what? But because I was like going, it's a horror film, right? But I'm like going, I am not doing horror except to save my life. If I'm not in any danger, I'm not watching it because I get freaked out. But it's on Spotify. Again, I'm going to say a Lights Out Narcissistic Podcast on Spotify. People who are watching this on YouTube will get to see both of our faces, but in the captions below or the information below, I will actually have a link there for people who are wanting to listen. You've already dropped 2 episodes, and you're here pretty soon going to drop the 3rd, which is not bad in a January. I might do a podcast every other week, maybe every 3rd week. And so I'm like, man, you're really getting to it, which is cool. So why don't you tell me about the podcast a little bit, and then go ahead and tell the tales of how this podcast even came to be. Or you can say that first. It's your show, Miss Saige. So you start wherever you want, but floor is yours.
Well, I appreciate that, Misty.
Yeah.
A Lights Out Narcissistic Podcast was based on my experience with a narcissist. I gotta say, it was late one night, and you're just going over all the trauma with this experience with this narcissist, and just all the damage and all the night terrors, all of that. And I made the correlation that my ex-girlfriend reminded me of the demon in Lights Out. So Lights Out is a horror movie, 2016. I watched it in high school, loved it. Big fan of horror, big fan. Teresa Palmer stars in it, love her. The writers were amazing in this movie. And she reminded me, so the demon in the podcast, her name is Diana. My ex reminded me of Diana. So I decided, and she had all the traits of Diana, of this demon in this movie. And so I decided to write this podcast and kind of parallel my life to this horror movie.
Yeah.
Essentially.
And showing some narcissism and all of that. Like, oh, yeah. Because Diana it's the Diana show, right? But I mean, that's what the movie's about, right? But it's everyone else having to deal with Diana. I mean, I watched the trailer. That was scary enough for me. I would recommend you see it if you like horror, because I recognize these actors. You know, I'm going, they've got some good. They've got people who are good, but they also are telling the story so well that it's bringing in the big names, but also like I can see why you would like it. I mean, I was scared in 2 minutes. It was just so if you like horror, go for it. And it makes sense. I love that you're resonating it with characters. It kind of makes it more relatable in some respects. Although I think anyone listening who has narcissists in their life, like true narcissists, you know, are going to get it. And those who are like, maybe they're still going to get it. But yeah, I think movies are a great way to make things more more close, tangible. I used to do movies with my teenagers in groups. We'd watch a movie, then we'd analyze it and apply it to their lives. And it's amazing how much they were able to parallel. It was a little bit more accessible. That's the word I'm looking for. So I think this movie is accessible. So that's how you started it as far as the podcast. And right.
And I think kind of like what you were saying, movies are relatable. In this movie, we're worried about this demon lady, and in real life, the monsters are among us. Or I wouldn't say monsters, but the narcissists, the dangerous people, are among us. And with Diana in this movie, she doesn't just go and hurt Sophie, the main character she attaches onto, because narcissists, they'll attach onto you very quickly. She slowly starts manipulating Sophie. I have no one. I need someone. And Sophie feels bad for her. That's normally how they hook onto you. Yeah. Is you feel bad for them.
Yeah. And maybe they also feel needed. Like,
I wanted to feel needed. Yeah. I did at that time. Now I don't. Right. I don't. Right. It's just, I have a savior complex. I'm going to save you. I'm going to heal you.
Yeah.
No, it ruined me. It wasn't worth anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the story is, and it's, it's embarrassing. I was an activity director at a rehab center, and she was a patient. And we were friends, and we would talk, and she had my number because I would invite her to activities. And
I think you explained that in the first episode where there was a reason why we were connected. Like, I'm the activity person, and she was like the cheerleader for everyone else. She would help get them there, and that's good for everybody, people who show up, right? And so it makes sense why you guys were connected. And because she was almost, even though she was a client there or a patient, you were helping. You were working together to help the group at large, and she was like a leader, so to speak. I would say that's what it sounded like. Is that right?
Yeah. She was, and she one day just told me, "I'm scared. I'm alone. I'm dying. Will you marry me?"
Oh, she proposed to you. Yeah, I remember. So it's weird. I've only heard the podcast, so I didn't know part of the story. But so she's texting you things like, basically,
will you
come closer? I need you, is what she's saying. Right. Okay.
And just feeling hopeless and not having ever been able to really date a girl. I think the longest I have was 2 weeks, and that's it. I seriously thought this was my only chance. I thought this was it, low self-esteem, just
for yourself.
I was like, wow, this is it. Like, this is my only chance at love.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying is embarrassing? Because you're like, oh man, I worked there. She was a client there, and lines got blurred.
Yeah, it was unprofessional. It wasn't illegal because I wasn't taking care of her. I was just a director, but it doesn't look good. It looked horrible.
Sure.
And so, there was a time she asked me to marry her, and then I said, okay, I need a break. So there was a break. I didn't mention that in the podcast, but there was a break. I said, I need a break. And I was attending the OCD and anxiety treatment center at the time. So I was vulnerable, mentally vulnerable. Yeah. Yeah. And they knew that.
And so emotional. Yeah.
Yeah, just very, I was working on triggers. I was at the Center for PTSD and OCD. And so yeah, I was very vulnerable. And that's the thing, is management knew that, and they were understanding. I talked with them. I said, I'm not here to get in trouble. Let's do what we need to do. So they put me on paid leave for a week, and then they fast tracked to kick her out of the facility.
Her own stuff. Yeah. My guess is that this person, and you don't use her real name, I understand, for HIPAA. What do you call her again?
In the podcast, I called her Asia.
Asia, okay.
Yeah.
I could spell it. I spelled it like Asia, the continent. So I was like,
continent.
I didn't know. I don't know how she's spelling it, but that's how I can say it right. I just couldn't remember, and it's right here in my notes for Pete's sake, but I'm just asking you. So I'm wondering, although there was a lot of, I'll say pot stirring with you, that way with other people in the facility. It's not necessarily to the exact, I'm not saying that you we're twinning with other people, but where was the program going, oh, wow, she's creating some, earthquakey types of things with everybody else. So we need to help her the best we can to get her onto her next part of her journey. Was that they were saying?
She had problems with everyone.
Okay. Well, it's very common for people who have true, NPD or narcissistic personality disorder. Most all of us have traits of narcissism, but that's not the same as an actual personality disorder. So I want to make that clear with everybody. Just because someone has traits doesn't mean they have the diagnosis. It does look different. But it's just so people know, because I think this last year, I've been hearing everyone throw these diagnoses out. This is my wife, this is my husband, this is my whatever, my girl boyfriend. And I'm like, well, let's slow it down. But let's talk about what you're seeing and the traits, right? So, but
definitely,
I already know some backstory. I'm going, oh yeah, no, she probably has a real bona fide, diagnosis,
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah.
So they're trying to get her out. You're trying to go, okay, I'm on leave so I can really take care of myself.
Yeah.
And my guess is, as you're taking care of yourself, you're now away and you have some space. So you're like, oh, here were the warning signs. Here were the things.
Oh no, I didn't see any of that. None of that.
Not while you were in program. Not when you were with her, but when you were in your OCD treatment.
No. I didn't see anything.
It took me a minute. Okay.
Nothing. It was her against the world. The facility's attacking me. This male gay CNA tried to rape me. This CNA was taking pictures of me in the shower, all this stuff. And she was such a good liar, so convincing that I just believed her. And they were fast tracking her out. So I was like,
so they're fast tracking her out, and you're doing your own treatment. You're not seeing her there every day. And
for a week.
Most a week. She's not shifting, but you're still under the spell. Is it kind of, I'm going to say it like that. I don't know how else to say it. You're still under the illusion of what you thought was there originally. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I even was warned about her saying that a gay male CNA raped her. A CNA warned me. The problem is when I asked her about it, she didn't blow up. Because normal people, when you ask them stuff like that, they freak out. How dare you accuse me? And then I know they're lying.
They're mortified, like, oh my gosh, why is someone saying that about me? That's so not true. That scares me.
She wasn't. That's why I couldn't catch it, is because when I asked her about it, she just went silent. She said, I don't know. I'm on a lot of meds. I black out sometimes. Sometimes I feel like lots of people are touching me. There's a lot of people in the room.
Oh, so she already had an out built in.
There was no crazy reaction that I'm used to when I call out liars.
Right.
And so it's hard for me to, she was just such a good liar and manipulator that I was like, oh, you know, so she probably did say that, but she probably blacked out, and she was on a lot of meds. Opioids can go to your head. Absolutely. So it made sense.
Yeah. So she was on opioids there,
Yeah.
but she using them recreationally too? Well, like was she overusing her meds? Maybe not when she was in treatment, but like after treatment or?
Always. And so it wasn't until a year later, literally after this experience happened, I blocked her and everything, that I realized she was an opioid addict. And she was that good at
hiding
it. You know, she would purposely fall in the shower or act like she was hurt so she could go to the hospital to get opioids while in rehab.
Yeah.
She was a professional addict.
Yeah. So you guys haven't been together, and you were together for a short period of time, but it was so intense, you know?
Yeah, we were only engaged and why I say that is because she was straight.
Yeah.
She was a straight woman acting gay to get a lesbian to get her meds. That was, I was just,
but at the time you weren't seeing that, but like that kind of played itself out. Okay. Yeah.
Well, she wanted to kiss me on the property. And then, you know, I would try something and she didn't feel it. So I would back off. Hey, if you're not feeling it, I don't want to force you to do anything ever.
Mm-hmm.
And she would make an excuse. I'm not feeling sexy right now, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. So we never did anything in the facility. I think we pecked once. Yeah. Once she got kicked out of the facility, there was a time when she tried to do something, but it felt so wrong. Yeah. So I told her, we can just stop.
Something was off. Yeah.
Something was off. And it was because she was straight.
Yeah.
She just couldn't handle being alone and needed someone to get her opioids. And that was me. Mm-hmm. I was just a transporter, basically.
Oh, okay. Well,
that's how I feel.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that might have been the reality. And although you're like, well, that rips, but I think it's cool that you're able to say that, like, no, I get it. And I don't think you need to be embarrassed at all. There's not one part of me that thinks you should have any like guilt, shame, embarrassment from this. How that being said, I'm like, I can see why the brain is like going, oh man, you know, that whole hitting your head. Why didn't signs were there. I just didn't see it. You know, because of my own stuff, maybe because of my, you know, savior complex, or, you know, some of your OCD stuff or your own trauma. I mean, listen, the way we see and interpret things is directly related by our life experience before that moment. Right. And so yeah. And I mean, I'm not, there's nobody I can take away. If you feel embarrassed, you feel embarrassed, but I'm just like, no, I think there's a lot of, I can see why everything's happening, especially if someone's as good as they are, you know, as far as the manipulation and the, you guessing your own reality and stuff like that. Like, wait, did that happen? I think it happened, but you know, but now I'm questioning myself, or why aren't they more upset about this? Why are they kind of blowing it off? Like, oh, well, maybe there was a mistake. And there's no defensiveness. It's more like, oh, okay. And so it looks like the person's open to, maybe not being accurate rather than being freaked out. Like, why am I having this memory then? How strong are these meds? That would be me. If I have this memory, but I'm being told it didn't happen, then I'm like going, what's going on? Am I on too high of meds? Is everyone lying to me? I want to get to the bottom of it, right? Because I'm thinking, especially because RIP is a big deal, you know. I mean, whether it happens or not, it's a big deal. So you don't just go slamming around accusations, you know, and nor do we want anyone, if it did happen, we don't want anyone minimizing it, you know.
Right. You know? Right. And that's another thing is I'm not one to gaslight a victim. Having my own trauma myself, that wasn't, I wasn't going to question anything along in that nature. I don't want to be a victim shamer, right?
No.
Ever. We have so many of those in this world today. We don't need that.
Yeah, but take it at face value and then wait till you get all the information for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it wasn't until a year later when I met with a CNA that she accused of telling her about, what was it? This was so interesting. So a bunch of CNAs were at this facility. They were talking about weird kinks and fantasies. This is all at the same facility that she was at.
Mm-hmm.
And one CNA said, a weird kink that I know of is a kidnapping fantasy. And she was in her wheelchair and she rolled up and she freaked out. And then she rolled away and she told all the CNAs that this CNA cornered her in the hallway and forced her for 4 hours to listen about a rape fantasy. So this is a common theme. Like everybody's just talking about rape with her 24/7.
Yeah.
That is not what happened. They were having a private conversation away from her. She decided to intervene. He said kidnapping fantasy. She made it about her, then told me. So then me as her wife freaks out. This CNA gets in trouble. A year later, I'm working with this CNA in another facility, and the CNA says, no, it was a private conversation. She decided to intervene. She twisted my words.
Or
she made it about rape when it wasn't.
For sure. Yeah.
Right. She just would everyone was like raping her all the time. And so, and because that's such a strong word, your brain goes into panic mode.
Yeah.
So I started to hate this facility. Why is everyone doing this stuff to her, touching her, and this CNA later told me that she would like force him to be in the shower with her. And there's normally a curtain.
Mm-hmm.
And he told me she would like open it up and expose herself to him. And what she told me is that he would take pictures of her in the shower. So it just was like she was attacking all these people and then saying they were attacking her.
Yeah.
So I didn't know what to believe. And so then, a year later, while her and I were, so when we were together, apparently this CNA I talked to a year later told me that they caught her having sex with a male nurse while her and I were supposedly engaged.
Mm-hmm.
So it just was not a male nurse, sorry, just a random friend, not a male nurse.
Yeah.
She hit on a male nurse, but she was caught in the facility having sex with a friend of hers while she was together with me.
Not even a client, just someone who was visiting her?
Just someone she met on the internet. She would meet boys on the internet all the time and ask them to do stuff with her. So it just, that hurt even more because I thought I meant something. I was true to her.
Oh yeah, that's why you were
straight person.
Why you were coupling still.
Right. And she was cheating on me for the 2 weeks we were together. That's just sad. That's pathetic. I'm sorry. Like,
yeah.
Why don't you just go get with that man? Why are you bringing a lesbian into this?
Yeah.
Go date a man.
Like you said, her intent with the relationship was she's the means to the end. I need to get drugs. She's my means, but also, she had I think she had a few things going on top of her narcissism. I'm just saying that because I don't know. I'm like going, I'm intrigued only because I'm thinking, I think narcissism and maybe a few other things, but I clearly can't diagnose her over, a show. And I don't know her. I haven't talked to her, but I'm like going, I think some other things are going on because there's patterns in her accusations and also the behavior she's seeking, and so I'm like going, okay, there's some things happening there. Maybe past trauma.
Lots of past trauma.
Which maybe sometimes, and we can talk about this later, but, sometimes narcissistic people don't become narcissistic. They're not necessarily born that way. We might have tendencies of selfishness because it's our world. We need to eat, sleep, and, go to the bathroom. And then we get older and there's that whole needs thing. But sometimes being given everything or given nothing, or sometimes past trauma can create these ways of protecting yourself and narcissistic tendencies or developing into that a personality disorder like that might be that. And I'm saying that in an empathetic way. I don't know who this person is, so I'm not necessarily having empathy for her. I'm just saying
It's okay.
As a whole, I'm like going, yeah, there's a lot of things going on with her. That being said, you know, you can be narcissistic and still figure out how to abstain from those traits. But you have to learn. It's education, and it's a lot of mindfulness and being present kind of practice. But for you, I mean, that's her over here, and then you're over here, and you're thinking, well, I don't even know if you know what's up and what's down. I don't even know if you know what side it's on, because it's so confusing and kind of chaotic, and it's almost like she's one step ahead and you're trying to catch up with her on the reality.
Always.
Is that what it felt like?
Yeah. Just her life was a horror movie 24/7. And I just didn't even know what was right, what was wrong most of the time. You don't want to be a victim shamer, ever. But what is the truth? Where is the truth?
Yeah. You also had that savior people pleasing thing you were saying. So you're like, and I'm just trying to help her.
Yeah.
And that's my goal, is just to help. And that's your goal with the podcast too, which is, it's a good goal. Like, I want other people to relate to this. I want to help other people see signs. I want people to know things before it's too late, or, all those things. Right. So, I mean, you're a giver anyway, which is awesome. And also it might lead you to be targets for people.
My whole life. Whole life. I look back after this experience, and 50% of my friendships were narcissists.
You're like, boom, 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 boom. Yeah.
People I dated, it clicked. And that's what I talk about in episode 3 of my podcast, is good girl syndrome, which is
right.
Not being able to say no.
Yeah.
Not being able to set a boundary because you're too worried about other people's emotions. But guess what? Yeah. I matter too. If I don't feel comfortable,
and
I get to say that's a boundary. No, but I couldn't say that.
Right.
I couldn't say no.
Yeah.
So I dug myself grave, basically.
Yeah. So, so she's there, you're there, all these things are still happening. And you don't have to do this. I'm just curious, like, do you have, are there any stories you're like going, okay, this is the story that I was going, something's up? Or do you want to talk about like any of the during stuff, or do you want to jump to like, okay, so here's how I got out of that relationship? I mean, I think it's all interesting. I'm just curious, like, what you're wanting to do as far as like sharing your story, like.
Well, and this one's, and I just tell the warning about this in the first episode, and then I don't mention it. But this, I talk about warning. We're going to be talking about a girl cutting open her feeding tube. In my car. So, and everyone's like, what does that even mean? And I don't even mention it. So I probably shouldn't have said that because I don't even mention it. But I guess I wanted to prepare users way ahead of time.
Yeah.
Of, I'm giving you raw truth.
Yeah. And I'll have disclaimers. I say at the very beginning, like, there's disclaimers here. Normally I say there might be triggers, but I'll definitely, it'll be on the written thing, like, hey, warning, this might be hard to hear. So, when I post it, I will have it not available to kids. Like littles, if they're 18, they can do whatever they want.
They're adults. They have rights. They're.
Let's be honest. Half the 16-year-olds are going to be intrigued and try and figure out how to download it anyway. Right. But I mean, that being said, I'll make sure that we govern that on this end too. Okay.
Yeah. So the feeding tube, and this is so interesting. So
did she have an eating disorder? I think. Okay. Go ahead.
She did have an eating disorder, but she framed it in the way, and she told nurses, I have gastroparesis. So gastroparesis is when your stomach cannot absorb nutrients and you throw everything up. It's a horrible disorder. So she told people she had that, but she would eat all the time in front of me and be fine. So, and my nurse friend even went to Olive Garden with us and was there, and she ate a whole Olive Garden meal and she was fine.
And she didn't explain herself, oh, I have to go to the bathroom.
Well, at the end, she said, oh, I need to go to the bathroom to throw up. And I, at the time, worked at a pizza restaurant and was an activity director. So it was 2 different jobs. So I had my pizza uniform on. We were at the mall after Olive Garden. And so everyone's like making fun of my uniform. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to go buy a shirt so I don't have to wear this. So I go to H&M, I buy a shirt. And she says, I'm going to go throw up. She'd say that every day. And I said, okay, cool. Let me come with you and change in this shirt. No, you can't come with me. Don't follow me to the bathroom. That's so embarrassing. That's so gross. Blah, 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 blah. And that's when I realized.
Because of the stomach disorder, but really it's her eating disorder.
Really? She wasn't throwing up at all. She just wanted to, she's going along with the narrative of, I have to throw up. I have gastroparesis. When she was just going into the bathroom, and she did this in front of me. She at her house, she went to the bathroom. She said, I don't want you to hear. So she turned on the shower and then came out fine. When someone
is people who are bulimic will do that too. If you're bulimic, you will you'll make the sound, you'll have the sounds, you'll have the music on, you'll,
there was no coughing. There was no, I listened. There was no.
Like when you said she had an eating disorder, I was thinking it was bulimia because she was covering up the bulimia with the stomach disorder. But you're like, oh no, the stomach disorder wasn't a thing, and she had some eating disorders, but it wasn't bulimia necessarily.
Her eating disorder was anorexia.
Okay,
so she just didn't want to eat.
I gotcha. Okay.
So that's why at one point somehow some surgeon put a feeding tube in her. Because she claimed she had gastroparesis, really meaning just feed me because I don't want to eat. I don't want to think about it. So I believe, I don't know for sure, but I believe her eating disorder was anorexia. And so when she would eat, she had to go along with the gastroparesis, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to go throw up now. Before I throw up, my face goes white. I get really slow, and then I come out looking like crap. She would go into the bathroom, turn on the faucet, come out. There was no smell. There was no sounds. I didn't hear anything. She didn't go white. She was not throwing up. She just was going along with the role of
I have the narrative. Yeah, she had to make her narrative be true. Yeah.
Right. It was all just a lie, like everything else. For the most part. And so that's when my friend caught on. She was like, Saige, she didn't want to go to the bathroom with you because she wasn't going to throw up. She was just, and she didn't look sick. She didn't act sick. She didn't would eat. And my friend said my friend who's a nurse said a normal person couldn't even get through a whole meal of Olive Garden with gastroparesis. It's not possible. For the most part, without throwing up midway through. So it's just, anyways, so she had this feeding tube. We were in St. George on vacation. I let my boss know. I had already quit the nursing job because I thought they were horrible people. So I had to get out of there. And so I was just with my people.
There's the perpetrator, so I got to leave this space.
I couldn't stand for it. And it's a skilled nursing facility. So, of course, there's sketchy things going on here and there with the residents. Like certain residents couldn't get money. And they told me they're withholding my money. It's so hard and technical, though, because some of these people kind of had a little bit of dementia. They were a little slow. Some people didn't. It's just hard.
Years ago, in my 20s, I worked at residential for seniors, but one wing had just people who were just there for physical rehab after surgery rehab. And so, and by and large, I think everyone's great, but sometimes they're like, they don't remember, or sometimes people would work there that were sketchy too. It wasn't like, but by and large, I think everything was safe, but combined all those things together with somebody who's narcissistic, or even she almost sounds like someone who has like Munchausen.
I think she might have actually.
Yeah, because it was like something was always, I'm dying, I'm sick, I'm always being raped and stuff like that.
Yes.
So, I don't really study Munchausen, but I know what the diagnosis is, but I'm just like, so I'm not like, I wouldn't be able to go, oh, for sure. I'm going, oh, it seems like she's leaning that way a little bit, but
yeah. And
doing narcissistic things, you know,
it's very possible. How I see it is she just had an abandonment issue. So she's like, how do I get someone not to leave me? Okay, I tell everyone I've been raped, so they feel bad for me, so I can immediately hook onto their emotions. And then I always got to be sick because no one's going to leave a sick person. So that's how I saw it, is just full on, don't want to get abandoned. And then she treats you like crap. Like, she would make me feel worthy of toilet paper. Like, I was at her house and she ran out of toilet paper. And so I just used paper towels because I don't care. It's toilet paper, like whatever.
Whatever absorbs, right?
Yeah. And she would be like, I got toilet paper for you. You're welcome. And I'd be like, I don't care. No, I know how you get crabby. So then it was just this gaslighting of, and I'm like, no, I don't. I actually don't care. I've used coffee filters. I do not care. It's toilet paper. Like,
I'll work it out.
And she'd be like, just like such a sacrifice. I got you toilet paper. You're welcome. I don't care. No, you get crabby. You get mad with me. So it's just this gaslighting cycle.
Yeah.
When she really just wanted toilet paper, but she wanted to make her think she was thinking about me.
Like she wanted you to be like, she wanted, like, one of the signs of narcissism is this need for admiration.
Yeah.
Admire me, you know? Yeah. You know?
And I just was like, thanks. Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Anyways, so that's just a whole nother thing. So we were on vacation. I just had my pizza job at the time. I was a manager, and the manager was really nice. He let me go down to St. George. So that's Southern Utah for people that don't know.
Yep.
And we stayed in my friend's condo, which was very nice of them to let us use. It was for free. And it was such a mess down there. We ended up going to Vegas. I got my first tattoo. I can show you. It's kind of fun, but this is my first tattoo I got with her. It's a 333.
Yeah.
So that's my angel number.
Oh, okay.
So it's spiritual.
Okay, your angel.
Yeah, it's a spiritual tattoo. She yelled at me in the tattoo parlor shop because it was 110, and I started passing out. Because it was so hot, and then there was so many nerves. So she gave me a sucker. She was just super mad. How dare you pass out on me? You know, and I'm like, I'm taking you to the hospital all the time. You can have some compassion, honey.
Yeah. So that's kind of the arrogance that narcissism has, right? Arrogance, entitlement, right?
Yeah. Entitlement. Just, you know, just there was all these things. Like, I was like, my feet hurt. Are you going to be a baby? No, my feet just hurt because they, you know, well, keep up with me, you know.
We're nailing all of them. Lack of empathy.
No empathy. Total sociopath. Like, I'm giving you so much. I took her to the hospital once a week because she would hit her head, because she would get sick. Or one time she stabbed herself with an EpiPen to get meds and opioids. So I was so compassionate, and there was none back. It was just straight, I would cry. She would yell at me. Don't you dare cry. Just so sociopathic, you know?
Yeah.
And she would say, I'm an empath. I feel people's emotions. I just put them in a different box. No, you just don't have empathy at all. You didn't feel anything. You just would say that so you don't look like a sociopath.
Sure.
Right.
Well,
anyways, so
narcissism for sure.
Yeah. That's just what happened there. I got taken hostage in Vegas. Basically, I needed to go back to my pizza job.
From leaving?
Yeah. She's like, she ended up after I got attention for my tattoo, deciding to pass out. I can't get up. Call security. So we call security. We take her to the hospital. She was iron deficient. She didn't take her iron supplement or her iron infusions before we went. So of course you're going to be a little sick without iron. So, but she was telling them all these lies. They're like, we're going to have to keep you here for 5 days. And I said, I need to go back to my job. And I need to go back to watch my dog. My parents are relying on me. How dare you leave a dying girl? How dare you? You know how shitty that is? You know what kind of person you are, Saige? And
it's like the emotional hostage was linked to a physical. Like I really was trapped. Okay.
And I wanted to leave, and I texted my mom, and she was so mad at me that I wasn't going to watch our dog, and he means everything to me.
Yeah.
But I was like, I don't know how to go. She's sick, and
all the medical people are like going, someone has to be here for her.
Right.
Yeah.
And she could have just called her grandparents because they were her like number one, but she wanted to put this on me because she's her.
Right.
So I ended up quitting my job. I texted my manager. I said, I'm stuck in Vegas. I can't get out.
Yeah.
And to this day, I still feel so bad about that because how do you tell someone I'm emotionally held hostage? Well, just leave, Saige. Well, how do I live with myself driving 7 hours back?
Yeah.
And just thinking about her being alone in the hospital.
You do all the what ifs. Well, what if something happened and no one was there with her? Or what if this isn't pretend?
What if this is real? She's like,
real?
What if I die?
Yeah.
When you left me and I die alone.
Yeah. That's a huge burden to have to carry around. Yeah.
It was huge. So after she got out of that hospital, she ended up meeting this guy on Tinder, and she had this whole Tinder narrative. I'm dying. I need someone to marry me before I die. So this guy she met in Vegas comes and he meets her and proposes the next day to her with this ring.
While you're there.
While I was there.
Hospital.
Yeah. Which was awesome because I was like, sweet, I don't have to deal with the psychopath alone. Awesome. Please, anyone.
You're like, oh, it's reprieve. And also this guy does not know what he's doing.
No, he was the same person I was. And it
just
hurt me to see.
Yeah.
Low self-esteem. No one's going to marry me. This is my only chance. And I looked at him and it was so sad. But I was like, this is my out.
Yeah.
This is my only out. This is a saving grace. And I'm going to have to put this demon on this person to get out of here. And
not that you could have changed anything. I mean, I appreciate that you're feeling guilty knowing what he was. I don't know if you need to feel guilt, but like you're like going, I have these two hearts, like, oh my gosh, is he really marrying her? And this is what's this going to mean for him, but also have this way out, He's responsible for making his choices. Let's be clear. You read something on Tinder and you're like, oh, I'm going to go save this person.
Same thing, just like me.
Right.
Just like me.
But yeah, the difference is you're there in real time. And so you've already talked to this person and he doesn't. And I don't think he's a bad person. I'm just thinking that just shows to I'm hoping the listener how our brain just wants to connect and be connected and have that belongingness.
Yeah.
If we haven't found it, and we will grab what we can grab, even if it's unhealthy.
Absolutely.
So I don't know what part of him I can guess. I mean, I can see like, there's a part of him that was like going, this is my only chance too.
Yeah.
So I don't have to go through life saying I was never married or no one loved me, or, well, what if she lives and we can live happily ever after? I mean, again, it's the what if syndrome that we often, don't think I've never done what if parties myself, because I have, but
definitely.
At any rate, so you're like going, oh, so you're just being tearful just now, like going, oh man, this was my out. I really felt trapped. And I wanted out, but I didn't know how to get out.
Yeah. So he stayed in the hospital with her because I was only supposed to have the condo for a week. So I drove out of Vegas back to St. George. It's about an hour. It's about a 2-hour drive to go clean this condo to make sure it was good if my friends needed someone else. And she was with him. And so
did they get me to the hospital?
What?
Did they actually get married?
So I'll get to that.
I'm all chomping at the bit.
They did, but not right then. It was
later. Okay.
It was a half a year later or something.
Not at that.
And I can tell you how I know that too.
Yeah. Okay. But go ahead with your story. So you went back to St. George to.
Yeah. So I went back to St. George to clean up my friend's condo, which was very nice of them to let me use.
Yeah.
And I had left my suitcase because I was planning on coming back. And I cleaned up the condo, came back, and the nurse said...
Back to the hospital.
Yeah, came back to the hospital. She was with him. She was fine. And the nurse said, we can only have one person here.
Oh.
And we registered him. So you need to leave.
Okay.
So I got kicked out of the hospital.
That's another sign like, oh, I really can go.
Well,
I don't know that's how you thought it, but.
I left the hospital. I didn't have my stuff because...
Oh.
I was assuming to come back. So I drove back to St. George. And then she had been discharged from the hospital, but she didn't tell me. And I didn't have my hormones. And I was freaking out. I take these natural hormones that just
help level things.
Yeah, they're natural. They're safe. So I was for 2 days alone in this cabin, just like, what am I going to do? How do I go home? I left my suitcase with her. That was the one problem. So my parents call me. My dad's losing his hair. My mom's freaking out. Why can't you come back? Blah, 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 blah. And I said, I don't know what to do. I'm held hostage. She won't let me leave. She's dying, blah, blah, blah. And I said, I left my suitcase with her. And that was my issue because I could have just left then. But I left my suitcase. It had all my stuff, my hormones, all that stuff. So I called her and I said, I'm not doing good. She's like, and I said, I need to come get my stuff. Saige, I just need a rest. I'm dying. I need to come get my stuff. Okay, whatever, Saige, blah, blah, blah. So somehow I ended up getting into his apartment complex. I got super lucky because she wasn't going to let me in. Because it was gated. So I ended up following this gated car to his house.
Right.
She was standing there, pissed off at the world. And I said, I need my suitcase and I need to go. Give me my stuff. So I got my stuff. And she was like, I need to get in the car with her. So then for 2 hours straight, we're in a screaming match because she's like, you left me. And I said, I had to go take care of the condo and you were with someone.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you let me come back? Because she kept making excuses. Don't come back to Vegas. I'm fine. When she had discharged. So she yelled at me for 2 hours, which once again, I'm driving your ass all over the place. You can say thank you.
Yeah.
And I'm being a good friend taking care of a condo, which you don't know how to do because you're not a good friend. So we finally go back to the condo in St. George. He ends up coming and they have a honeymoon or whatever. And there was a time when her and I were dating when I wanted to kiss her. And she got super grossed out, went like this and said, no, thank you. And I was like, okay. So, and now looking back with boundaries and stuff, if a woman were to do that, that was actually gay, I would respect that. But she was straight. So obviously she didn't want to kiss a woman. Right.
Yeah.
But I told her, I said, you make me feel ugly. And so that night when he was there, she was so mad. She was like, you told me you make me feel ugly. And I said, you do. You do make me feel ugly. So then we went into a conversation and she said, she was talking with him or something. She said something about, if I see a pretty person, I stay away from them because they're bad news. And so I looked at her, I said, do you not think I'm pretty? And she said, scientifically speaking, in a symmetrical way, I guess you are.
Wow.
And the look I gave her.
Glad she sorted that out.
Yeah. So you do make people feel ugly. I'm glad you finished your narrative.
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah.
Good job.
I know what was in his head. I know this is not about him, but I'm like, what is he thinking witnessing all of this stuff?
He didn't know we were engaged.
Oh.
He just said, this is my sister. He wouldn't have been comfortable with that. I just was so happy he was there that I didn't have to be alone with her, that I would play any role. Yeah, I'm her sister. We're friends.
Sure.
I was just happy I could not be with Psycho all the time. So it was just a blessing he was there. The look I gave her when she said that to me. So there's a look I have, and I keep it very private. But if you say something that messed up, or I've had people that have literally tried to ruin my life, I give a look, and people have called the police on me because they thought I was going to attack them. Just from the look. I gave her that look.
That's powerful, I guess. Yeah.
It's a very scary look. And I don't give it to just anyone. It's, you say messed up shit.
Yeah.
You get that look. Mm-hmm. She then said, I want to kill myself. So instead of saying sorry, right? That was messed up. I want to kill myself. Mm-hmm. And then she went to this narrative about how this girl I really like told her to die and kill herself. All lies. Mm-hmm. And then she ran away. Mm-hmm. And I didn't care. I was like, yeah, go run away. You're a horrible person. So she ran away. He freaked out. She had been gone for 2 hours. So he went looking for her. And I was like, I'll stay here. I don't care where she is. And he ended up finding her in a graveyard, laying on a gravestone. Mm-hmm. And her feet, because apparently she just,
shoes?
No shoes. Her feet were so torn up. It was like she had walked through glass.
Wow.
Because she just
gives me shivers. Ouch.
Full on just sprinted for hours down this road because she said something horrible to me and couldn't handle it and couldn't take accountability for it. So just ripped up. I'm saying, so she came home and I had to feel bad for her because she was bleeding all over the place. So there was no first aid kit. There was nothing like that. So I ended up getting maxi pads and just
whatever worked.
Listen,
feminine hygiene things have saved lots of people from bleeding out. So well done, you.
And then all of a sudden she switched the narrative from her saying something so horrible to me to now I need to feel bad for her because she's bleeding all over. Her feet are torn to shreds. So,
and you're still in the face of good girl syndrome.
Yeah. And by then I had my stuff, but I didn't trust them to leave the place in a good.
It's not yours. It was your friend's condo.
It was my friend's. So I didn't trust her. She wasn't going to clean. She wasn't going to make sure.
Leave the condo. You can't be here. Yeah. And
they
were leaving. Okay.
So I ended up during this time, because I didn't have any money, I was staying at my parents' house trying to pay off debt. I ended up taking these random sales jobs just to make money that I was able to make like $100.
Yeah.
Just in St. George, just random people connecting with, like just trying to make money, trying to get gas. I kept asking her repeatedly, please send me gas money. She's like, he's really rich. I was like, can you get him to send me money? No, that's rude. Oh, okay. That's rude. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm driving you all over. I've spent over $300 in gas, but that's rude. Yeah.
Right.
So he ended up finally leaving. And I said, well, I got to go home and my parents are going to kill me. And I don't have a job anymore. And my dad's hair is falling out. And my mom is having an anxiety attack every night. So she said, something's wrong with my feeding tube. And I said, okay, what is it? And he ended up having to leave.
She has his feeding tube the whole time.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And he ended up having to leave back to Vegas. And so we went to the hospital and they said it was surgically implanted incorrectly. So feeding tube, you're supposed to have feeding tube and then the disc outside of, because it's usually above the belly button. So it's supposed to be outside. So you have tube, disc, and then inside. The tube was surgically implanted inside of her.
Oh.
So it was surgically incorrect.
Sure.
So the hospital just was like, we can't do anything about this. So she said, well, this Utah hospital isn't going to help. Let's go to Vegas. And I just, okay, whatever.
Here we go again.
So she said, I need to get this out of my body. No one's helping me. So I'm going to do something about it. So she had stolen a kitchen knife from my friend's condo and put it in the driver's door and said, I'm going to stab myself. And I'm driving. So I'm like, what? No. What are you?
That's so interesting. Why wait till you get into the car, right? Why not just do it at the apartment or the condo? I mean, you know what I'm saying? I'm like going, this is the time. You're planning this. You have to plan this. And I'm like going, oh dear.
I didn't. So I'm in shock.
I'm exhausted for her thinking of these things. Like her brain must be going 100 miles an hour trying to have this all figured out. But at any rate, yeah. So you're in the car driving. She takes a knife out of the door and it's going, here I go.
I'm going to stab myself. They're not going to help me. I need to get this out of my body. And I'm like, just horrified.
Yeah.
Don't stop. Fine. You're being such a baby. I'll use scissors. So she gets scissors.
This same.
Yeah. You're such a baby. Why can't you handle me stabbing myself, Saige? Like, yes. What the crap? So she gets scissors instead. And she starts cutting above her belly button. And there's stomach acid just leaking out.
She's not crying or screaming or this hurts or?
No.
Wow. Interesting.
No. None of that. Just
yeah.
Another Thursday.
You're making my brain go 100 miles an hour going, holy, I can't even sort this out. But yeah.
Nobody can. Like,
right.
I know she was on opioids, and opioids sometimes just make you insane.
Well, and it numbs everything out. So, okay.
Yeah. I think that's why.
If she's high, then okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. From all those hospitals. I know she was on Dilaudid at one point, which for people that don't know, that's the highest form of pain med you can get over morphine. I don't know how she got access to that. Probably all these lies and whatever. Sure. So she starts cutting above her belly button. There's stomach acid. We had gauze for some reason from one hospital to another. So we started putting it on her belly button. And then
on your way to Vegas.
We finally got to the hospital. They checked her in because she was not in a good place. And so they put lots of gauze around her feeding tube and bandaged her feet correctly, took off the maxi pads.
Well, I'm sure they were a little impressed by the maxi pads.
After this experience, I have a full first aid kit in my car. Not because of her, because of just safety, right?
No doubt.
So they bandaged her up and he came by, and once again, I know at one point he was jealous of me because she's like, she lights up the room when you walk in. I'm like, she lights up the room because of what she can get from me. She doesn't care about me. It's just, oh, look, I have a carrier to get me opioids. Like, she doesn't, he was jealous because we had such a close connection. And I just couldn't tell him, this isn't a connection. This is me being held hostage, just acting a part, feeling bad for her,
Yeah. I want to say earlier you were saying there was some tendencies of enabling and codependency, of course, but
yeah.
But like, he's just not seeing it. But he's got his own things going on. So,
yeah, he was in love.
Yeah.
And he loved her. And he cried to me at one point while she was sleeping. I'm so sad she's going to die. She's my soulmate. I love her so much. And there's a reason we found each other, Saige. And, and I just felt
it's a lot.
So bad, but was like, thank you for being here. Like, I'm so happy you're here. Like,
yeah.
Random man, he was very nice. And so we ended up going to the hospital, and they ended up I don't know what kind of doctors these were, but they're like, well, let's get the feeding tube out. So they did exploratory surgery and found that the feeding tube was inside of her, which we already knew.
Right.
And then they didn't take it out, which I was like, what is going on with this hospital system? Yeah. So instead, they gave her a half a dose of Dilaudid, which she complained about for like 2 hours because she's hooked on way more.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, all these doctors got her under bed and they said, we're just going to pull it out. And I'm like,
okay.
So this alone was traumatizing.
Mm-hmm.
They take her feeding tube and then 1, 2, 3, pull, and it snaps.
Yeah.
And the disc is still inside.
Oh yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Why are we stupid? Like, and then they're like, well, let's give you laxatives to get it out. I'm like, is that even going to get out of her asshole? Like, isn't this pretty big?
Not that
I don't know what's going on with our medical system or
maybe.
What kind of thought process that was.
Yeah. I mean, you can pass a lot of things. I'll just be honest. I mean, your ability is greater than it would seem. But that being said, you were like going, what's happening? And she's all okay with this. You know, I mean, is she?
She told the nurse it wasn't going to work, and it didn't. And I was horrified by just seeing this medically.
Sure.
Why didn't because they said during the exploratory surgery, we have to ask for your consent to take it out. But I was like, why didn't you ask for her consent before?
Yeah.
We could have just surgically taken it out. But now we're trying to pull it out, and now she's gonna have to poop it out, and it probably won't fit because it's kind of big.
Yeah.
And homegirl hasn't pooped in forever because she's on all these pain meds and those constipate you. So good luck with that, buddy. Like,
yeah.
It's just the logic was just so weird. And he ended up his name is I don't know if I should change his name. We'll call him Lucian.
Okay.
His name was Lucian.
Okay. You can say Dr. A. I don't care.
Her husband. I'm talking about the guy that proposed to her.
Okay.
I don't know the doctor's names. They were. I don't even know what they were thinking. But Lucian, let's call him Lucian. He ended up coming to the hospital and brought this bag with all this baby stuff. And he's like, this is for our baby. Because they were going to get pregnant.
They're going to get pregnant. Okay.
Even though she told me she was going to die in 6 months. So I said, okay, so you're going to get pregnant, but you're going to have the baby and then die?
Yeah.
And he just was committed. He was like, well, I'm getting ready to have a baby with you. I want to have a baby with you before you die. And I just was like, what is going on? I thought she's going to die. How was she going to carry a child?
Sure.
Dying, just okay, whatever.
At one point, you guys got to do you. I mean, at one point, I'm guessing you got to that point eventually because you're like, you're here and there, wherever they are at. But
yeah. So it finally I just was like, am I on planet Earth? Like, what?
Yeah.
Where? So she ended up needing surgery again. And this is another narcissistic thing. I was on my period and I wanted to shower, obviously.
Sure.
And they weren't letting people shower unless it was the patient because I guess other family members had showered. So she was able to say she was showering and just let me in.
Mm-hmm.
And then she was so mad. She's like, you get so crabby when you can't shower. Like, you're so annoying. And I was like, I was on my period. Like, do you want to smell me unsanitary like that? No. So just was like, and then at one point, I kept asking her for gas money because she had owed me $100 for when I paid her for this Korean food because her Snap wasn't working at this Korean market. So I said, I need that $100 now for gas money because I've driven everywhere. And instead of giving me gas money, she ended up getting Lucian to buy me a ring that was blessed by a shaman to thank me, which was like,
it won't get me home.
Where is your mind?
Yeah.
Where is just gone.
Right.
So that just pissed me off because I was like, I could have used that stupid ring money for gas, but instead you get me a ring.
Yeah.
So that was weird. And he paid for it. Might as well. She would never pay for anything for me. Even if never, ever. Because she's perfect and I'm her slave. Yeah. So that made me very mad. I just was like, what is wrong with you?
I don't want a ring. I want some gas money.
I need gas money to get home. Yeah. So my mom ended up texting me because we had a trip coming up to go to Mississippi with family and then Louisiana. And she ended up saying, if you don't get home by Wednesday, we're going to leave without you. And so that was my out.
Yeah.
I had a ticket out.
Yeah.
Finally. Like,
my family's saying this or else.
I have to go. I have to go. No. You don't go, Saige. You're going to leave me alone with a surgery. I'm about to get a surgery, Saige. No, I have to go. You're fine. You have him.
Mm-hmm.
So I tried to pack my suitcase the night before. How dare you do that? Blah, 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 blah. And I finally ended up leaving. And I had to go way over on a credit card just to get the gas money to get home.
Sure. Yeah.
Because I had no money. And I finally got home, and you're just looking at the pieces of your life just shattered.
Well, because it kind of, you were in Vegas or St. George, and it kind of blew up in Salt Lake, kind of, right? But so now that you're back, how long has this been? Like, okay, I got away.
Yeah.
Just away physically, but also there wasn't the emotional or mental or verbal pull towards her. There wasn't any guilt tripping and all that kind of stuff for you. I mean, from her once you came back. I mean, once you came back, were you like, yeah, I don't associate with her anymore, or was there still a pull for you?
There's still pull. I was very angry with her, which helped break the pull. I got home and texted her, I'm not doing good mentally. And I said, my sunshine is too much. I said in the text, your darkness is too much for my sunshine.
Well, that's poetic, but I like it.
He would always say, you're the sun and I'm the moon. I'm the darkness. You're the light. Once again, feeding back into this Diana narrative. Mm-hmm. I live in the dark. I'm Satan and you're sunshine. And so I used that because I knew anything I said she was going to use against me. And she would with past boys. He said he couldn't handle me dying, And so she would use things people said against her for the next person so they would feel bad for her. So I knew I had to be very sneaky so she couldn't have someone feel bad for me leaving after she basically held me hostage. So that's what I used. And then a day later, can you call me? I'm having a really bad time. You have my $100? No response. And then I blocked her.
Yeah. So that was it for you. So how long do you think it took you before you were like, I mean, you might still be working on stuff. I mean, because you're still like, I have these memories and emotions still come back, which is normal.
Right.
But when did you start noticing like, oh, I escaped this narcissistic type of, mousetrap or like, maze?
Well, so the reason why we actually went down to St. George is because there was this woman I really liked. And in the podcast on episode 3, I'll talk about her, but her name, I call her Q.
Okay.
And I lived in St. George at one point, and Q and I had connected, and then we had disconnected, and I moved home.
Gotcha.
In northern Salt Lake, so 4 hours away.
Yeah.
So Asia had told me she was talking to Q, and that Q wanted to take me out on a date, and Q wanted to marry me, and all this stuff. And Q and I hadn't talked for months, but I still really liked her.
Mm-hmm.
And Asia was telling me such in-depth stories about Q that like, who makes up stories like that? Like, of them
Well,
drinking wine together, watching the Jerry Springer show.
this show, drinking this liquid, it's very specific.
Yes. Go every night, every Wednesday night, going to In-N-Out and listening to S&M and screaming their heads off on the highway. It was specific memories.
Mm-mm.
And then she would say little things to make Q look bad. But I just was like, okay, what? That's in the past, you know?
Well, even after you came back, I'm just making sure I or the listeners understand. You can't come back, but there's still contact between the two of you because she stays there, and you met Q while you were there, and then now
there wasn't contact with Q and I, but she said she was talking to Q.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So when I was telling you the part about how this person said for her to kill herself after she called me ugly,
yeah,
she said Q told her that.
Oh,
so she was trying to turn this person. And then while we were driving from Vegas to the hospital, she said that Q raped her and that Q broke into her home, sat on her face, had all these guys get together on her birthday and rape her in a hot tub. She said Q tried to drown her. So that's what I was the most upset about, is I thought this person that I loved had raped Asia.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So you're like, wait, she's been caught in so many lies. But up until now, did you realize all the lies were lies?
I got home, or now.
Now, but now you know. But when you got home, you're still not putting all the dots together. Like, oh, the rape or the whatever's assaults that happened, the treatment center really happened. The things that happened down there really happened. So you're still hearing her dialogue, her storytelling, her whatever, her narrative, and you're still thinking, oh my gosh, this girl must be the most unlucky girl ever to have been raped so many times, or you know what I mean, or have this much medical issues, not that medical issues are a lot. Some people don't have the great medical card. They don't draw that, as far as medical stuff. But and you work with people who were ill, so you're like, oh no, I see people ill all the time. So why not believe it? But so up till now, you're still thinking, oh, she's still telling me the truth because she's presenting it in a believable way. So the person who I used to know, that had contact with, suddenly they're having contact, and now she's Q's assaulting this Asia
assaulted.
Yeah, right.
So what I was the most torn up about actually was just that I thought Q was a rapist when I came home. I had cut off Asia because she put me through hell, but that was what I was the most upset about.
Yeah.
And when Asia told me this, because I did see Q down there when I went down to St. George.
Yeah.
Because Asia set up all this appointment and stuff, and then she was like, Saige, we're gonna plan your date while I'm there to see Q. Q was in a chiropractic business. So you would set an appointment and I would see her. So I set an appointment up for Asia, to have an appointment with Q. And they could set up my date. That morning, Asia got sick and said, just go for me. So I showed up and Q was happy to see me. But we hadn't talked in a long time.
What are you doing here?
Right. And but she was still happy to see me. We still miss each other. She was just closeted. She couldn't love me. So it was secretive. But I think everyone at work knew. But I wasn't going to expose that. That's her.
Yeah.
So I showed up and she was confused because she was going to see Asia, but instead she saw me. And after Asia told me she raped me, it scared me so badly. And I had a detective in St. George that I went to Q's work. And I just said, I just need to see her tell me she did not rape her. I just need to see it. And she wasn't there. Q was not at her work. So I left a sticky note and I said, please contact me. It is an emergency.
Mm-hmm.
And she texted me. She said, never speak to me again. Don't show up to my work again. And she blocked me.
Oh, wow.
So it looked like she had done these things because she didn't verbally communicate. I did not rape Asia.
Mm-hmm.
So I did think for a while that she had done all these things because of her reaction.
Yeah.
And so you just see this narcissist just get into everything. And months later, Q and I actually ended up talking.
Knocking down cones on her highway, that's for sure. You know, she's just knocking one after the other.
Yeah. Just breaking. Your family's horrible, Saige. You're a slave to your family. Yeah. I wasn't a slave to my family. I was a slave to her.
Sure. Yeah. But so, you're like, maybe she's right. Right. I mean, because right now it sounds pretty overt, like very clear, but like when you're in it or what leads up to it, and people, just for people who are listening, like it's usually more like, this is like some of these things that are happening with you are really black and white. Like that's really big. That's unacceptable. But more often, and probably what was happening at the center, and then before it got so big, because now she didn't have to be careful. She could be as big as she needed to be because you were already dialed in, you know, is it so subtle, you know? And so most of the things, like you say, you're like, they're just so subtle. It's just subtle. So, yeah.
And when I told Asia about it, she was like, did she deny everything? And I was like, she just texted me. She never wants to talk to me again. Don't show up at my work. She's like, see, Saige?
Yeah.
Now you have your proof.
Yeah.
So I did call my detective on her. And thank goodness nothing happened to her because it was all a lie. None of it's true.
Yeah.
And when I talked to Q months later, we finally got a hold of each other. She said, I didn't do any of that. And I drove Asia home one time.
Mm-hmm.
And because Asia was telling me, yeah, we've been talking for months over Facebook. She's telling me about your dates. She showed me the text Asia sent her. There were no texts. It was just only when they were in Vegas. She said, hey, can I see you?
Mm-hmm.
I thought there were weeks and weeks of messages of Asia talking to Q about me and them setting up a date and Q being like, I think Saige is the one. Can I propose to her? And nothing. Those were all lies. Who comes up with all those lies?
Yeah.
About someone I like. And so, of course, when I showed up, I thought Q was going along with everything. Like, oh, hi, Saige. Like, I've been talking to your friend. I'm going to take you on a date later. No. Yeah. Q was actually just like happy to see me, but what are you doing here? Because there was no talking for months before. It just was me just showing up to a random appointment. She said, I'm happy you're in town. Can I see you? And I said, yeah.
Yeah.
And then we didn't. But like 30 minutes plus of stories about Asia and Q being best friends were all lies.
Yeah. So now you're back in Salt Lake.
Yeah.
And now you're realizing, and you haven't had any more contact with her.
No. My friend has, though.
Well,
which is interesting.
Well, that is interesting. I'm like going, oh, everyone's down at everyone's history, I guess, is what I would say. Like, no, don't go down the history channel. But so like on your podcast, I know you do this, but what do you think looking back, because it's been a minute, right, since you've had contact with this person?
2024 was the last time.
Yeah. So it's been a while. But when you look back at it, and partly why you're doing the podcast, I mean, I think the analogy with the villain in the movies is great, and it makes sense because, you know, it's the person in the dark that's the bad person, and often with narcissism, it's so subtle, or it's dark, or if you question, then it's like, well, you must be wrong. You know, oh no, you're seeing it wrong, you're hearing it wrong. That's not what I meant. There is the lack of empathy, the entitlement, the envy if someone else gets the attention, or if someone else wins something. Oh, they got the job, so I'm envious of them, or they got more attention, right? All that kind of stuff. Or like for her, there's the like the fantasies of like, oh, I'm going to be rich, but also like, oh, I'm texting people, I'm dying, and come and save me will be great. You know what I mean? There's this, so that's creating these worlds that aren't real. Although you said this guy did marry her, which is great. We'll let that be where it is. But when you look back, are you thinking like, oh, had I been in a different space myself, maybe that was my first flag? Like, can you think of looking back, like what was your first flag? Or you had 5 traits.
The first flag was just a random person texting me to marry them. That's immediately, I could have been a serial killer.
Yeah.
Immediately. That's not, and me saying yes.
Boundaries. Well, right. So that's your piece is you saying yes, but their piece is like, So both of you at that time were in a space where like, we're not really thinking things through. We're doing things impulsively on emotions or fear of being alone, because we can be run by the fight or flight stuff for sure, which I think is nice that you're sharing that and you're being vulnerable and recognizing like, no, I wasn't in a space and they weren't in a space, but the fact that they approached me with that, even it would have been nice if I paused and said, why would this be appropriate? And then what's some other red flags that you think?
Well, the day I met her, she told me she was sex trafficked. So if I've had trauma, I don't tell people that. Yeah. I get to know them or say we got really close one night, we're trauma bonding. It's a little different. But I was just like, hi. And she's like, I've been sex trafficked. So
she was disclosing intimate things very early on.
To a stranger.
Lack of boundaries.
Yeah. And that's an immediate hook. Mm-hmm. Immediate. I'm going to immediately get you on the hook and make you feel sorry for me. So you're going to stay in my orbit. Yeah.
Well, as you relate to it, you are like, you do make it a trauma bond kind of thing, right? You're like, oh, I relate. Oh my gosh. We speak the same language. I get you, that, which is easy.
Right.
It's easy to get in that loop, I think. Yeah.
And I talk about that in my podcast. These female narcissists, one of the red flags is they're immediately going to say something very inappropriate to hook you. And that's all I've seen with female narcissists is, for the most part, when I meet them, they tell me they've been raped or,
they'll say
raped, touched by their uncle. And not to say they haven't. Yeah. But, that's not something I disclose to random people.
But this sounds like their storytelling has to be the biggest of the big.
Yeah.
Like has to be grandiose. So
an immediate.
If you meet somebody, whether they're a male or a female, like pay attention to those like self-importance, but also like this is a tragedy, this is a trauma, but it's the worst trauma. No one has higher trauma than me. That could be. I'm not saying it is. It could be.
Yeah.
Indicator. Lack of empathy, huge. Mm-hmm. Huge. Not getting it. Yeah. Whether they have the inability because empathy can,
or even compassion. No compassion at all.
Yeah. That can be a skill that you learn if you don't understand it. But so it's an inability or an unwillingness, right, to recognize that anyone else has feelings other than yourself.
Yes.
Right. And then there's the entitlement, which could be usually it's unreasonable expectations that everyone else has to whatever. But that would entitlement, being explosive, right? Okay. Or not explosive, exploitative. Like I'm exploiting you, right? Yeah. Like, oh, you work here. You have access to, can you help me I'm really in pain. Would you go ask the nurse for me? Then it doesn't look like I'm med seeking. you're just helping a girl out kind of thing, maybe. Of course, the arrogance, and then the, my life would be better if, and you start to create these fantasies. And so much so that you're online trying to get the fantasy to come to you. Because that wasn't the first time, envy for sure. Jealousy, I'll say that too, right?
She was mad someone else liked me.
Yeah.
She wanted to take that away.
Yeah. And then there's this whole self-esteem pieces, which usually is a self-esteem thing. So that if I am, then you can't say anything bad about me, or I might be super ashamed and retreat, or I might get really angry at you because you've criticized me. You said I was bad. You said, whatever. So those are just some basic signs of, it doesn't mean because anyone has any one of those or a combination of those traits, right. Narcissistic. Again, people who are listening, I mean, hear the words as points, just hear them as points and observation. And then when it gets super big, then it's all of these things on a severe level. And you'll see these patterns, like, it's the same, happens again and again. And you see these people like, how come, where is your family? Why don't I have a good relationship with your family? Or who was your best friend growing up? Oh, you didn't have a best friend growing up? Like all those types of things, work, like, oh, you've been fired from every job, or you quit every job. What's going on with your work that you're quitting every job, or you're getting fired from every job, or whatever. Like, relationships are really hard.
Yes.
And I think that you're right in the fact that narcissistic often have relationships with people who have good girl syndrome, like you said, or people who
absolutely
are conditioned to, like, I'm a yes girl, not a no girl, or a boy, or
absolutely all genders, any gender,
yes,
any gender,
or I have to make myself small, whatever that is, my opinion, my voice, my presence, and you get to be big because otherwise you'll leave me. So there's often that weird kind of dynamic of, this doesn't feel good, but so I have to keep trying harder so that you'll love me.
That's what she always said. I can't believe I couldn't get you to love me. I'm like, why would I love you? You abuse me all the time.
I'm talking about the other person. She wants you to love you, but she's being bigger than you. I'm talking about you. You in the scenario was like, kind of like the guy we were talking about. Like, I really wanted a connection, and I did have good girl syndrome, or whatever, right? And so, and I thought, and me believing you and me helping you was also helping me, because now you could see I'm helpful and you need me too. So I want to be needed, right? It usually is a back and forth. Not that you couldn't have a relationship with a narcissist, you can. It's just exhausting. And the person with narcissism really needs to be, they need to be willing to hear the feedback and then go get some support by a professional, maybe, where they can go, oh, that's what that is. Well, how can I do differently? I mean, it doesn't mean because you have a personality disorder that we're done. I mean, there's ways it's a personality disorder. Medication's not going to help. It's like, oh, I need to set some different patterns for my thinking and for my life to do that. I just want to make sure that we're like kind of covering some of those things too, just for the listener.
Absolutely.
But yeah. So any other things that I'm leaving out, maybe, that you can think of that were like, I mean, I think you did a good job in narrative form, right? You're saying like, oh no, we hit all the fantasies, the arrogance, the exploitive. Yeah. You hit all the marks by your narrative of storytelling, which I think is great. I don't want to miss anything. All right, can you think of anything else?
I think they go after broken people.
Yeah. Or maybe injured people too, maybe injured.
Another thing too is they don't want you healthy. Well, they don't want you. I gained weight with her. I was sick all the time. Yeah. It's because they're just sucking the life out of you with all these false stories of the traumas that 50% of them were just made up.
For her, it was that way. For someone else, it could be like, good husbands do this, good wives do this. And so the other person's stressed, trying to.
I was stressed all the time. I was sick all the time. These emotions, these just feeding traumas that weren't even true. 80% of them were just made up into my body. And I'm feeling all those negative emotions and traumas. And
physically,
my organs were just dying.
Which goes to show for all of us, no, when emotional things are happening, it will convert into body trauma too. We can but also they don't necessarily want someone who is emotionally or mentally healthy either, because healthy people don't stay with unhealthy people.
No,
right? And so it's like, oh, I'm staying with this person. Does that make me unhealthy? It might. But if you tell this person, hey, this isn't working for me, and that person who maybe is narcissistic goes, you know what, I'm going to see if I can let's both see if we can get healthy and be healthy together. Then it could, it does. I know people who are in relationships with narcissistic people, and the tendencies come back, but when they catch themselves, or when they're willing to hear the feedback, then they go, oh, I can mend that. Because just because you're narcissistic doesn't mean that you should be, locked out of society. Now,
definitely.
I think when you mix, I'll just say this way, it gets more dangerous when you mix narcissistic personalities disorders with an antisocial, or someone who also has other things happening, like she also was addicted to opioids, right?
Yes.
She had a bunch of layers that were not helping her with her being her best self, and no matter how she developed it, I'm sure she's had, you've given her a lot of, I know people in her world have given her feedback. She had it in treatment, hey, this isn't, what's happening with you isn't doing you well.
She had it in treatment, or I did?
No, when she was in treatment, I'm sure she
wasn't in treatment. Or you mean rehab?
Residential rehab, yeah.
Yeah, not opioid rehab, just rehab for her lupus.
Right.
She should have gone to AA and.
But I'm just saying, when she was in medical rehab,
yeah,
they were giving her clues of, hey, we're concerned with this. Hey, we're noticing this. Let's get you treated so you can get out on with your life, because it's not healthy. You're not being healthy here. I'm sure they gave her the feedback.
Absolutely.
And they became the bad people. And so then she had to say, here's how horrible they are. And maybe some of them were not great with boundaries and were not, the best, whatever. Maybe she didn't get the best care, but I think, as you were saying, no, some things were exaggerated or just straight up lies, because she always had to be the grandiosity, the storytelling, the whatever. Yeah.
She, what was interesting is she knew she needed therapy, and she would say that, but she said, but I'm dying, so can't get therapy.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I have a family member who has lupus, and I'm going, I guess it could kill you, but
she was dying from kidney failure, cancer.
Oh, that's right.
He told me, I have cancer, I have kidney failure, gastroparesis, my organs are shutting down, I'm going to die in 6 months, blah, blah, blah. It was all just lies.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to think as a human going that. I almost feel not empathy, but sorry. When that's a lot of energy to create all of that and make it last. I'm oh, if she only knew that on the other side of that, if she would have gotten some help, she might have had some relief, emotionally and physically, all the things, because she wasn't living her best life either. No. And it impacts other people living their best life. But it sounds like you're still working on you, which is great.
Absolutely.
And it sounds like that you're healthier.
I've lost weight. I'm working on myself, healing myself, my trauma.
Yeah. So, which I think is great, that because even as you're still working on your own stuff, doesn't mean you still can't pay it forward. And I think that your podcast is doing that, which I think is great. I know we're just about finished with time here, but I wanted to again remind everyone who's listening that I will put your podcast on so they can get the link there.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I'm already listening to it. So and then, you know, as I meet people who I think, I mean, it's compelling anyways, whether you know someone with narcissism or not, it's compelling. I mean, already I'm like, oh, I'm already stuck. I'm already in, even just because of the movie parallels. So
it's fun. It's really fun.
I will never watch. So you go ahead and spoil it all you want, because I just can't sit. I think it's great. All my nieces and nephews, they love horror movies. And I'm like going, I don't even want to be in the house when you're watching it. I'll go somewhere else while you're watching the movie. That's just me. But so I wish you much success with that and on the rest of your journey. And I know that when we are finished here, you and I'll stay on the line just a little bit longer, as I'm saying, and signing off with everybody else. But I would just want to say, for everyone listening, if anything was triggered or anything you're like going, questioning, go ahead and talk to your support people or a professional if you need to process that out. I also want to thank you all for being with me and us today. I know it is your time and it's valuable, and I appreciate us being able to spend some time together. And I also want to say, as I usually do, to remember that this is your life. You got this. Have a good rest of your day.
Thank you, everybody.